Central Soul will be hosting a conference May 12th in Baltimore, focused on Latino youth, not exclusively immigrant Latino youth, but Latino youth more generally. And we're going to focus, it'll sort of be a community action, community engagement counterpart to a discussion here, which is more focused on policy. They're both critical, so it's a nice complement. We're going to focus on education, mental health, and teen pregnancy prevention. So you're all welcome, and you can just Google Johns Hopkins Central Soul. Please excuse that advertisement. I would like to introduce Walter Cotte Whittingham. He is the Regional Director of the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. I know that you are a little tired at this time of the day. I would like to be very short and as much as possible very concrete. I represent here the beautiful network of the Red Cross and Red Crescent that is the kind of neutral factor of the civil society. It's a factor of aggregation, agglutination, and support for communities. This is our role in the world. We are representing, of course, the interests of 190 national societies in the world, more than 17 million volunteers, and 85 million of associates in the world. But we are not enough to represent all of the gap. We are a gap. And we know very well that we need to work with others. We need to be servers. We need to be humble in the way that we create networks and capacities with others, for others, and through others. I would like to really express my appreciation and congratulations and thanks to the Red Cross to host this event and to invite me, because I think it's very, very nice to be here for a while in Washington. Different weather than in Panama, that is my place today. But very happy to be with you. I would like to start this presentation by asking you for a favor. Would you please to raise hands, people that feel themselves migrants in this room? Who is migrant? Migrants, okay, good. We have some. People that have families that are migrants, ancestors that are migrants. Okay, it looks like we are This is the main thing. Migration is beautiful. Migration is power. Migration is capacity. Migration is growth. You know, it's the way to be happy in other place, creating happiness for the other place. But there are three problems that we are confronting everywhere. Red Cross and you, all the entities that are represented here in different ways, from different perspectives. But I would like to comment to you things that are coming from my experience. I used to be Director General in Colombian Red Cross for many years and Director of Operations of my national society, working with migrants, IDPs, in a very complex situation, surrounded by risk. I was there working also in Nicaragua and Mozambique, in other places, and the last 3 years I was in charge of the Federation opposition in Geneva, and I was dealing with Syria, Yemen, Palestine, and Africa, and other places that with problems. I realized that despite that we have many problems in America, the problems of the others are worse and more difficult many times. But this situation is causing another problem. That is, we are abandoning the realities of America. We are hiding under the curtains on the other information that other networks are creating for Africa, for MENA, for Europe, and we have not enough numbers, not enough voices, putting the realities in front of the media, in front of the decision makers, and we need to do that better. This is one of the big problems, but I would like to share with you the things that I hear and I saw with my eyes during these years of experience. Number one, I see 3 moments of suffering. serving as a witness of moments of suffering and trying to do something for these people. Moment number one, the moment when someone was crying with his family, forced to leave from home. It's a very sad moment. Second sad moment, second moment of suffering. The moment where the family was running in the very, very difficult way, full of obstacles, plenty of problems, stigmatization, segregation, abuse on these migrant trials that we have. And moment number three is the very complex process of inception in a new country, the acceptation in the new place, to be normal in this new place. Those are the sad moments, three of them, very compacted, very hard. And I was seeing people, ladies, boys, girls, people excluded by situations of gender or sex perspective, different things that are part of the human beings. They has been excluded for a long time, in different moments, suffering all the time. The obligation that we have to take migration as a global issue. We are working on that. We are trying to use the model of partnership for resilient models to create spaces for the people that are suffering in that way. We have in this line of the problem, we have 700 million of people that are migrants in the world. 10% of them are forced by different situations. But this calculation is suffering another problem, the under-register. Because many of the governments, many of the decision makers and people in charge of the responsibility are neglecting the problem and trying to reduce the numbers in order to show the problem less problematic that the problem is. The next slide is showing some concrete things about our region, our beautiful region. Our beautiful region have many different problems. I just put in this paper, we put some ideas with the support of the team in America and with the in charge of migration that is here with me, Jose. It's over there in the middle of the room, just using the finger to pass the ladies also helping us. But for me, the question is, we have 35 countries in this region. None of them is excluded of the problem. Many of them have very high problem. From Antigua and Barbuda in the Caribbean to the United States to Mexico. We have here, you can count some of the examples. We just put here some examples of the problems. But the commonalities of these problems are related with the volume that we have in the region that is big, but it's very high. You have a big volume, 2 million people that are almost permanent migrants among Dominican Republic and Haiti to Dominican Republic mainly. There are 1 million people. And then you have big problems also among Venezuela and Colombia, Venezuela and Mexico. Venezuela and Colombia, and Colombia and Ecuador, Mexico and United States, and vice versa. The 3 countries in the north of Central America, they have a big problems connected with violence, exclusion, and other difficulties related with delinquency. We have that. It's a reality. Then the next picture is trying to show you what we are doing. We have a kind of narrative in the Federation, and we have a migration policy. This migration policy is coming from our understanding of the problem. And in the migration policy, we are trying to do very concrete things. One is to be focused on needs of people by playing specific roles in the 3 moments of sadness of the people. We are trying to do that in a very practical way, sometimes in silence, in order to avoid problems of neutrality. We are very neutral in the way that we approach this. We are trying to create networks of support without portraying too much our presence to create security for these people. Then we are working also in longer programming for them in the different lines that I mentioned in the beginning. We are doing in different things that I will present later. We are supporting the aspirations of the migrants, because at the end they are human beings with aspirations, not people that want to be free, wants to be happy, wants to have a normal job. We are working on protection and advocacy for them, creating systems, creating capacities, networking with others. We are working migratory trails all the time. We are trying to walk with them, together with them, protecting them during these moments. We did that in the last 160 years. We are working with migrants to assist some of them in the return when the security allows that. We work with the internally displaced people in many countries, especially in this side of the world. We are working in Colombia, that's a line, but there are others. In Mexico now we have a lot of problems in internal displacement in Honduras. We have here the presence of Mexican Honduras people that they are doing a good job, by the way, in their respective countries. We have programs to alleviate the suffering of the migrants in the final destination, and we are doing things that are not enough at the end. It's for that reason that for us, these kind of meetings are very important, because this meeting is an opportunity to improve, recreate, renovate our commitment to be a positive, proactive, and productive network. And we need to do that. I think this is the call from the American Red Cross. I try to interpret the smile of Harold, but I think this is the call. The next slide is showing a little of some other ideas, the complex context that we have in Americas. In our context, we have political environment that is very blurry, very complex, very difficult. We have not enough regulatory frameworks to protect the migrants. And we have a very, very big difficulties to achieve solutions that are accepted for everyone, from everyone, for everyone. This is a big challenge itself. You can see the numbers there, the apprehensions. So I really enjoy, in a very sad way, I enjoyed the information that I received today, but it was for me better than ever in some situations. Yesterday, I was in Canada, and I was in a meeting with the people representing the First Nation. First Nation is people that are coming from the old times in the country, indigenous population. They call it First Nation. They are very excluded. They are migrants in their own country. It's incredible. And they are very excluded. We have problems in these big countries. And today I was present in some of the presentations that you did, and I really caught my attention and choked me a lot. You know, the centers of detention in the United States for people that are here, children, for me it's unacceptable. It's something strange. It's very strange. It's against my analysis of the human behavior. But anyway, this may be my problem. I am just talking about me now, but let's not Red Cross voice. I am neutral. But for me, it's something that is complex. But I really was following very well the voices of the doctors and people that are here that are doing a very big job in the respective actions from the government, from the private sector, from the universities, from the hospitals. I think but we need to create more and more understanding on the complex environment that we are dealing with. You can see the numbers with about women, you know, and among these women, 70% are abused. You know, that's a disaster itself. It's a big disaster for our people. We need to pay attention to these things, but those are only the top of the iceberg of our numbers, because we are under register. We are not well to analyze all the numbers that we need to analyze. The impact in the recipient communities is another thing that we need to pay attention, because the impact in the recipient communities is also causing a lot of problems, especially in low-income countries. Then the next one is about the commitment that we have. I put you in a very sad moment, sorry for that. Now I will try to offer some positive possibilities to work together. We are, you know, showing the idea to you today that we are committed with 3 main aims in the world. Those are our commitments as a network. Save lives, protect livelihoods and strengthening recovery from disasters and crises, enable healthy and safe living, promote social inclusion and culture of non-violence and peace. That inside are all related with migrants. But we have also a special commitment from Houston. We did a very, very good meeting in Houston last year with the support of American Red Cross, with our 35 national societies. And we declared together that we are going to follow very concrete lines in our region, 7 lines. And one of them is about migrants. You can see the line number 3 that is highlighted in my slide. It's about protecting migrants, address the violence, and work in favor of all this population. To do that, we have 8 areas of focus. You can see the areas of focus and the strategies of implementation. 4 strategies of implementation to work on that. But one of the strategies I would like to call for your attention is to create networks with others, to create capacities with others, and is to strengthen our relation with external actors. I mean, external to the Red Cross, but are not external, are normal actors. And I think we are working on that line to create more synergies, more cooperation, collaboration, and collective impact in front of the collective responsibility that we all have. The areas of focus are very simple. We decide 8 areas of focus in our normal job in the world. You can see there are very simple things, you know. But one of the areas of focus in migration is the last in the arc that you can see there, but it's not the last at the end. It's really connected with all the others, because this is not a separated. This is on your left is not separated list of products. It's an integrated approach of programs. It's about resilience. Next slide is about that more directly. We are talking about the global approach. We last year, after the situations that happened in Europe and Africa and MENA, we called for a special plan at global level, and we were working with UN and other actors, IOM, UNICEF, WHO, and many others, entities, actors, MSF, and we start to work together to create this kind of synergy, working very closely with ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, that is here also in the meeting in the room, with the national societies in the world, and with the network that we have as a federation. Then we were trying to interpret, the next slide is showing how we interpret this in our region, in a very simple way. We are doing in our region some kind of works to create capacity building for the systems, to do advice, to do support to the governments, to create a special systems to cover this kind of problems, working together with them using our neutral approach. Humanitarian assistance, complementing the action of others, working with networks and systems, not only on assistance, but also on prevention, information, on awareness, on recovery and return process for communities. We are doing a lot in creating a new agenda for social inclusion that is at the end of the chain of the migrant. When they are finally included, they finish this status to be migrants in the bad sense, because migrant is good. Many of you raise your hand today, and this is good. It's good to be migrant. It's not a problem. Knowledge and info. We are sharing with them a lot of knowledge about good practices, info, and I was very pleased to see how the passion in this room is present all the time from the doctors that are dealing with boys and girls, with doctors that are trying to save lives in the hospitals. You know, I think we have many possibilities to work together well by using our passion and our very serious and disciplined approach. Working as a network requires a lot. We have the next slide that is about this. We create different solutions in our federation. When I was there, I proposed to have a migration cell, and we create the migration cell and migration plan for the federation. We are working with that itself, but the question is we need to put something similar in our region, to put in place a system of coordination, a set of coordination to understand well all the relations among the migratory trades that we have, because all those migratory trades are related, they are connected. And also they are pushed by the violence, by the smugglers, by the other factors of the complexity that we have in our region. And we need to work together to coordinate well the ways to reduce the impact in the countries of origin, in the ways of transit, and also at the end in the destinies. But we also did something that is created a task force. We are part of the task force coming from people from the region. We have people from other entities. We are thinking to do the same in our region, in Americas. We are doing regional workshops. We are participating in the workshop as a part of our normal behavior. This is important for us to learn and to pay attention to others, to listen, to take notes. I was taking notes all the day today, all the morning. It was good for me to understand things that are new, things that are better, and we can learn from you a lot. We have big opportunities in Africa, in Italy, in Turkey, in Spain. I was working on our operations in these places. The capacity of absorption in Turkey, country of 73 million inhabitants, they receive 2 million Syrians. You know, they have a big capacity of absorption. But Antigua and Barbuda receive 17 Syrians, 17 persons, 7. And they have a big problem there. It's a hot potato for them, you know. But Red Cross there is doing a lot. And this morning I hear the person from the UNHCR. We are working together. We are doing the job, and they are helping from New York. But we are doing the job there. You know, our president, our volunteers are there doing the job. This is our role. Our role is to be pragmatic, close to the reality, and create spaces for saving these lives and protect the dignity of the persons that are involved in the situation. We are doing that a lot, with different actors, and this is our contribution to the network, to the global network. Next, please. Just to finalize my point that are connected with many things that I hear today, advocacy and partnership is something that needs to be systemic and systematic. You have examples that could help us to understand problems that are, you know, showing very clearly the 3 moments of silence. You know, when we talk about Honduras, Guatemala, and the other one that I have is Ecuador. Sorry, I was thinking that was because there are many. Ecuador. Ecuador. These 3 countries are just examples. Exclusive people supporting all pushing that it's for access for men, because people that we with non-violence, to be careful how they in that places. Our learning approach because when you fix something, then they start to move again. And this is very difficult. But we are also very focused on creating this capacity to help them despite the mobility that they have, that this obligatory mobility, forced mobility, and we need to help them. Next one, please. In order to do that, the model that we have is very simple. We have, we are using, you know, the idea to put the host community in the base, and then we start to work with them with on health protection, sensitization and awareness, doing public information for entities to avoid stigmatization and to try to calm down people that are afraid with people that are coming from outside. The fear is a very big problem in this case. When you are judging people because they are foreigners, when you decide that in a mathematic way that being a migrant is being a problem, you have a big problem in the society. You know, and we need to solve this problem that is on the mindset of the society, the structure of the society, the functioning of the society, and the attitude of the society is wrong. And when something is wrong, it needs to be corrected. We need to respect the human beings. We need to be on balance, on respect the human beings. And we have many cases, but I would like to show others that are related with this idea of our experience. I already mentioned this one on Colombia and Venezuela. It's in the border. One country is, this is a kind of ping-pong play game, you know? Sometimes Colombia is putting people in the other side because the economy, the conflict side, Venezuela is putting people in Colombia because the same things. You know, they suffer of the same disease, but the disease is flying, you know, over the border sometimes and pushing to the other side. This happened also in Mexico and the United States, happened in many other places. This kind of ping-pong game, and we are in the middle. We need to help people to avoid to be killed by the ping-pong. And this is very big responsibility for all of us. The next one is about the way that we respond. We have the case of the Cubans, you know, running from Brazil, Ecuador, Peru to Panama, then to the Central America, and then jumping to Mexico, and then try to jump to United States. These people, I was with them in Costa Rica in the borders with Nicaragua. They are very, very at risk. Despite that, Costa Rica government and Costa Rican Red Cross is doing a very good job. They respect them a lot, but they have a lot of problems despite of that. In a safer environment, they have a lot of problems. Then you have the last ones. We are just finishing the notes. Next, please. It's about Argentina. In Argentina and Dominican Republic, these two, you have in Argentina something that is very high, because one of the problems of our region is we have a big situation of forgotten disasters. We have many disasters that are hidden under the curtains of the problems of others and forgotten. People don't pay attention because are too small. But when you summarize all the problems, we have a big problem. We have many people that are raising our region. More than today, more than 30 million people are suffering of forced migration in our region. And this is the big problem. Not something that you can manage just to doing a good speeches or doing something. We need to do something concrete in favor of these persons. And this is the idea of under-register. The problem is bigger than that, but at least we are counting these situations. Then you have Dominican Republic. I already mentioned this. It's about the situation among Haitians flying and fleeing to Dominican Republic without a complete framework of inclusion. And they are suffering of very big segregation sometimes, and also causing very big burden in the public health system, because the capacity of absorption of Dominican Republic is very weak in relation with 2 million people, you know, arriving in a population of 7 million and so. This is very complex. Finally, my recommendation for you all is please help us to create some hope. And the hope is the hope in active mood. I perceive in this day today with you a big hope because there are many good practices that I was, witnessing today. I was there, I was looking at you, and no, we have a hope, we have a big hope, we have capacity, we can do more, and we can explain to many more people that we have some possibilities to grow on the agenda of service, on the agenda of assistance, on the agenda of advocacy for the community as a migrant. The good part of this history is we try to do protection, inclusion, many other actions that are in the bubbles. And I would like to end these comments that are for me more from my experience in the life and my perspective as a Red Cross person, learning from my peers, people that are working in the field very clearly. The moment of happiness that we want to create is this. The moment of happiness is when a family don't need to pay attention to their nationality and status person. And the moment when you and your family, when you have been migrant for a long time, this happy moment is the moment that you and your family begin to be treated as a normal people, as a people with rights and duties in the same way that the others are treated. This is the moment of happiness. This is the moment that we need to create all together. And I would like to promise you and to commit as a federation, as a network of Red Cross and Red Crescent, that we are not going to do this by ourselves. We don't have the capacity. We are very clear on that, but we need to work with others. We want to have networks, systems, in different areas of solution, different sectors. We want to be part of it. And we are calling, I hear one of the young ladies today with very big passion, just at noon time. She was the person that was talking about the slavery network. She was calling about coalitions. She was talking about coalition. We did that. We are calling for 1 billion coalition of community resilience. And for me, the solution is go beyond our boxes and try to think differently, avoiding to be kidnapped by our own institutional jail and avoid to be kidnapped by our own institutional systems, and try to use more the integration, integral way to play the role, to respect the action that government is doing, public sector is doing, others are doing, and then put together all the things to see the gaps and to try to fill the gaps all together in order to achieve this dream that we have. Families that are happy because they are normal. Please help us to make many families that are migrants today normal again. Thank you very much. Ready for questions or comments or challenges?
Can I make a comment?
Please.
I guess I'm probably the oldest. I would like to make a real quick comment. I've known Walter forever. I know Walter since he was in the Colombian Red Cross, and you were talking about space of growth. And at the time you used a psychological model which talked about displacement, placelessness, establishing a sense of place for children, mothers, fathers, elderly, and so on. And to see you today being an advocate for the Federation, for your dream. And I still remember Los Pollitos del Desastre, which was your very first program. Thank you so very much.
All right, nice.
Any comment or question?
No, I thought it was normal.
Okay, it looks like we are in agreement or tired. But maybe both. But please don't be tired. Never give up. Please continue fighting in favor of migrants, in favor of excluded communities, excluded people. We are existing for that reason. We need to play our solidarity in a very normal way. When you go home this night, smile a little and try to think that you are doing something useful for these persons. Your passion today was very good for me. You are charging very happy pushing this strongly every day. And I hope that you do the same. Thank you. Yeah.
I want to thank you, Walter. It takes a lot of humility to stand up in front of an audience full of committed people who work in the area of migration and ask, what can we do to help? And that's what actually has always drawn to the Red Cross and to the working in the National Society is that humility and that incredible desire for collaboration and openness and understanding that this problem is bigger than any one of us and we must rely on one another. So thank you so much for reminding me and for also charging our batteries. I wanted to also reflect on some of what we just discussed today. It made me think about one of my favorite authors, researchers, feminists, Davis. She said, "I'm no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I'm changing the things I cannot accept." And so, let me go on to that list of the things that we cannot accept. We cannot accept a lot of things, as we heard from some of the experts in this room today. We cannot accept exclusion, stigmatization, persecution, and the human suffering resulting from the imposed consequences of institutions, policies, and even communities towards migrants. So this is just a small piece of the iceberg we cannot accept. And it is your charge to move forward today, knowing that this is your charge for the rest of your life, actually. Because in order to build a resilient community, we need to remember that it's inextricably linked to advocacy, acknowledging the intersectionality and collaboration. When we come together, we have an invaluable opportunity to amplify voices, to learn from one another, en una manera muy humilde. And we have to mostly, in small ways, build a more resilient community in this space. So in our panels, we discussed mental health, integration, LGBTI inclusion, and policy. Now, when we were devising this agenda, my colleague back there, Don Dillon, when we were devising this agenda and planning between the two of us, we said, you know, I'm tired of the way that mental health is treated like a special topic that we only discuss when we have time. I'm tired of this idea that LGBTI issues and inclusion is only something that we address if somebody brings it up. You know, I mean, this is so unacceptable. We need to create that space where these issues are not treated like the cherry on top. And so that's what we said to each other. So we need to start integrating them into practice is what I call for. And I think that that's part of building a resilient community and a resilient response. And so my call to action to each one of you today is to have a little piece of homework to integrate migration into your work. This is a cross-cutting issue. It's not hard to do. You know, we all raised our hands in the beginning when Walter said, you know, who is migrants? I mean, it's not difficult. It's nothing impossible. So we need to integrate migration into our work, and I mean at every level, internally to the Red Cross as well as our partners. And if you're already doing this in all of your work, I encourage you to integrate the topics too that the panels discussed. Or on another level, just find somebody to collaborate with that you have never collaborated with before. I think those are the times when we find ourselves in that feeling vulnerable, unsafe space, but we take the highest risk for the biggest payback. And I think that that's where we need to be. As a movement, as a community of responders to migration, and just as humanity, as human beings responding to this. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming together today. It is always a great joy, and God, it's just an act of humility too, because I'm always learning so much from each and every one of you. So thankful to have such a wonderful community of professionals working in this area to advance this issue in a meaningful way. Thank you so much for your time and your commitment. I look forward to seeing you again next year. Gracias. Gracias. We are